Okay, good morning. I'll be here just chatting for a little bit until class starts. Welcome. I'm assuming gentlemen, maybe ladies. Hello, Sandwich. It'll be interesting to see what kind of usernames you guys put together. I'm Dr. Hammond, by the way. I'm new to Twitch, which is great. I have auto captions on, so Jammerton. It's hopefully they'll be fine. I've been playing with them a little bit, and they're okay for the most part. Depends on how fast you talk. Brain fog. So I'm going to talk about that today in class. You guys are always very curious. But essentially, don't worry about your lab hour. We've changed it a little bit this semester, and I'll talk about why that is. But that hour that you have set aside for lab, assume it's pointless. Like there's nothing there. And the classes are gonna work. What would, Nakia, what do you mean how our class is gonna work? So I transitioned to Twitch. I'm new to Twitch. So this should be interesting. I've been setting up my system this last week. I got my microphone. My husband went out and bought, I'm using Streamlabs. My husband went out and bought 32 gigs of RAM for me yesterday because things were a little slow. But we should be all good to go this semester. It should be interesting. Cass, I'm glad that you got MATLAB downloaded. Hopefully the instructions were up to date. I know sometimes UBIT doesn't always update things, and MATLAB's released twice a year. So there's 2 versions every year. And a lot of times they don't necessarily update the website for the instructions. No, I'm not using Streamlabs. I'm using OBS Studio, which is the precursor to Streamlabs, I think. Like I said, I'm completely new to this. It should be good. I figured Twitch was better than Zoom just because most students don't turn their cameras on. And so I figured I would just lean into it and just go to Twitch because it's just chat interface. And then I can still talk and teach and you guys can still see me. But then you guys don't have to worry about dealing with the video on or anything like that. You can just type in the chat. We will still use Zoom for office hours and exams, proctoring exams. But other than that, I'm glad it's less awkward. I'm like I said, I'm hoping this goes great this semester. I've heard good things about some of my coworkers, or one of my coworkers who uses Twitch. So I'm hoping it goes well. The only thing is I don't know how to determine how many people are here. I don't see any stat in my window. 53. Okay, awesome. Where do you see that? Anyway, whatever. 53. Thank you for letting me know. I will figure out how to determine that number. And there are about 60 students per class. So 53 is actually doing pretty good. I looked at UB Learns today and it looked like most people had gotten access to UB Learns. So that's great. Some people got access really late. So I'm hoping that everybody finds all the information. Okay, so it is 9:10. Let's go ahead and begin class. So first things first, all of this information is available on UB Learns. So let me go ahead and open up UB Learns, all that fun stuff. So if you go to the UB Learns page, you should all have seen, as you guys already know, week by week content. The welcome material is stuff you guys should have gone through. I am going to review the course syllabus today. All of you guys should gain access to MATLAB, which I encourage you guys to download MATLAB to your desktop. If you are working on like a Chromebook or something, you should just get MATLAB online, which is effectively the same as MATLAB on your desktop. It's just slightly different in its limitations, but gain access to MATLAB. This I've recently discovered. Thank you to whoever posted on the Discord channel, on the Discord server. It appears you don't need to download the VPN client. In the past, you needed to have access to the VPN so that you could get access to MATLAB through school at home, but it appears that you don't need that, so don't worry about the VPN client. Okay, and then purchase the course textbook. I will go through what that looks like and where to find assignments through that. And then obviously you guys all create your Twitch account and then join Discord server where you guys can definitely talk to each other and get help there. I will also be doing some office hours on Discord through an office hour chat. I do have a kid, and so if I figured if it was via chat, I would be able to manage him a little bit more and still respond in office hours. Essentially, think about it as better, more responsive email. Okay, so those are the things you guys should have done before coming to class. You guys can also see week 1 is available. So here's the stuff for week 1. So, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway. Oh, right. So attending lectures live. I will post the link to my Twitch channel every week and list out what our lectures are going to be. So Monday, today, I'm reviewing the syllabus, and then we're going to get some basic background on programming and computers, and then take a little tour of MATLAB. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up the syllabus. Okay, so we've got this wonderful syllabus. Like I said, you guys all have access to it on UB Learns. I have blacked out some stuff just because anyone can join Twitch. Maybe I'm being a little paranoid, maybe not, but you guys have all access to everything. So I am your instructor. Welcome. I am Dr. Hammond. Here's my email. My office hours are Monday, Wednesday, right after class. They are going to be via the Zoom link. I will show you guys office hours in a little bit. And then, like I said, I will be responding on the Discord server on an office hours channel. It's not available right now, but it will pop up when I do office hours. There are additional sections for this class taught by Drs. Ali and Dr. Sabato. I teach 2 sections. They're all the same homeworks, same exams, same everything, except they don't have a Discord server. So if you guys have the link for the Discord, if you have other friends in other sections, feel free to share that with everybody. I really want it to be a resource for all people in all sections. So just spread the love if you run into other people. There are 6 TAs across the 8 sections. In the past, TAs have focused on doing labs. This semester, we are not doing labs. We are just scrapping that based on our feedback and experiences from fall. And rather what we're going to do is office hours are essentially going to be spread out most hours of the day from like 9 until maybe even 8 until like 6 p.m. So most days we'll have office hours covered. So instead of doing labs, we're going to have office hours all week. Okay, but those are your 6 TAs. You'll primarily see them in office hours, and they'll also do a bunch of grading. Like I said, office hours will be posted on UB Learns. They start next week just because they do. They start next week. Week 1, there's really not much to talk about. And like I said, please join the Discord server. You guys can talk to each other and interact with each other. Garrett, I'll answer your question in a little bit. Some basic information about this course. So like someone posted, Friday is asynchronous. I will stream live from Twitch on Monday and Wednesday. And then I'm going to create some shorter videos that go over some background information that you guys can watch on your own time at the end of the week. And it sets up for next week. Yeah, so you'll see your first batch of videos in the week 2 material, which I will release on Friday. These classes are recorded. I will make the lecture videos available to everybody. You guys can always come back to my Twitch channel, and you should be able to see the recently recorded videos. So Twitch automatically records it, automatically saves it. It doesn't store it up there past, I think, 2 weeks. I will make them available on UB Learns past that time, but you guys can always go to Twitch. It records it automatically, saves it, and then, like I said, I will make them available on UB Learns as well. It might not be immediately available, but they will be available on UB Learns. And I stream twice, once at 9:10 for Section G, so you guys are all in Section G, and then once at 11:30 for Section H. Okay, so twice a day. So course description, this is, so Tidy 400, no, there are no labs. Class allocation, just an extension. It was brought over from the past semesters. Previously, we've always had labs where you guys would interface with the TAs. But like I said, we have, just in this remote environment, labs haven't been very useful anymore. So we've decided to just replace labs with office hours pretty much every hour of every day in the week. So this course is, there's 2 pieces of this course. It's an introduction to programming course, and it's also a linear algebra course. So there's 2 sides. We start out looking at MATLAB, and then towards the end of the semester, we will transition more to linear algebra. This course description, weirdly enough, doesn't talk about linear algebra, but really it's programming course. We are using MATLAB. There's lots of different programming languages. You may have had some experience with programming. Most students have not had experience with programming, so if you haven't, that's completely fine. That's normal. But we will be talking about introduction to programming topics. Some of them are more unique to MATLAB. Some of them are just general to all programming languages. There is some required material, as you guys saw. You need to access the textbook. So the textbook is through an online service called Zybooks. They write textbooks differently. So your textbook looks like this. You can follow the instructions in the syllabus, but it looks like this. You'll have, you guys have less tabs, but you have a welcome tab. It goes, you see all the chapters. If you click down, you'll see every section. Some of them are marked optional. Some of them are not optional. So those are the ones you are required to read. If you open up a section, it's going to be a combination of some text and then some activities. So there's, in general, less text than normal in a textbook, and then there's activities that help illustrate the concepts. So for this participation activity, you can just do start. I will get to MATLAB in a minute. You just do start, and it illustrates what is happening. The captions are down here. So it just goes through. You can speed it up if you really want to. But you'll see as you go through the activity. When it's done, it'll show orange here in the corner. If you're not familiar with MATLAB, there's not many sections that are optional. Some are. You guys can always go back to the menu here. Most of them are not optional. So you can always read the non-optional ones if you want to, but you do not have to. Sometimes it just adds to the information. Sometimes it's just another set of functions that you can look at. So it's completely up to you, but those are not required. And then, so this one actually has a lot of text, but you can see here it goes like tables. You can click on these links. It will take you to other pages. So it's a different kind of textbook. Your participation activities are in green, or not green, wow, they're in orange. And you cannot get participation activities wrong. So if it says, what's the word for a named region in memory used to store a value, that is, I don't know, it's a variable. So you check that, it shows the answer correct. Woohoo! And then let's say you're talking about the next one. What will the statement my num equals 2 plus 2 store in my num? And you have no idea. Maybe it's 5. You would check, see that it's incorrect. And then you can just try again and try again. You can always show the answer. So it says press again to show answer, just to double check to make sure you want to. And then it will give you the answer. Okay, so I've strongly encouraged you guys to do your best to try these participation activities, but keep in mind, you can't get them wrong. Okay? Like I said, when you do it, it's gonna show up that you marked it in orange. And then when you do all of it, it's gonna mark the big one in orange. And then at the bottom of most sections, not all sections, you have challenge activities where you're going to be asked to write a little bit of code. So it should be based on, or it's going to be based on the material that you read above, but it's going to be some code that you have to write. So here it says write a script. We'll talk about that today and, well, yeah, we'll talk about that today and next week. So you would type in your code, you would run the script, see what happens. Sometimes it might take a while depending on your internet speeds, but you'd run script. You can always then check to see if you got your answers correct. So like I said, it might take a while. You can see here that the part of it is correct, part of it is not. You can get challenge activities wrong. It does not show the answer for those, so you can keep checking to see if your answer is correct until you get it correct. You can always come to office hours for these, but not all of them are going to be due, only certain sections. So those are the types of activities you'll see in your textbook. Like I said, it's a different kind of textbook. It's meant to be a little more interactive. Some sections are going to be a little bit more illustrative. So here's an activity that kind of jumps through code to help hopefully step through what is actually happening, which is different than what you can see on just a blank text or not text at all. One other thing to mention in the textbook is over on these tabs, you'll see the welcome page, you'll see assignments. So you can see there's 2 assignments due right now. The due dates aren't exactly correct. They're still probably going to change in the next 2 days, but you can see what is due. So in week 1, you have to read sections 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then do the corresponding challenge activities. So the orange indicates participation activities, which you cannot get wrong, and the blue indicates challenge activities, which you can get wrong, but you should be able to keep trying again and again and again until you get it correct. Points do not get deducted for every wrong answer submitted. So points will be taken from your best effort. So you're not limited on the number of submissions you have. You're not deducted for trying something. A lot of this class is, okay, let me type that, see what happens. Let me type that, see what happens. And that's a lot of programming in general, is a lot of trial and error. So that's your textbook. Please get access to it. Let me go back to our notes. The next thing to get access to is MATLAB, which I already mentioned. So there's a couple different ways to get access to MATLAB. The first one is just downloading it, the first one is through the computing computers on campus. If you are on campus, feel free to do that, but that's probably your least likely option. The second one is what I recommend for all of you guys. There's an infinite number of submissions. Try as many times as you want. Hopefully you do not need an infinite number, but you can try and keep trying until you stop before the due date. You have until the due date. So technically not infinite. You have until the due date. These computers are located in the Sens lab, so the first floor of Bell Hall has those. That's like the one I know about. I was not a student at UB, so my knowledge on where things are is limited based on the classrooms I've gone to. So in Bell Hall, on the first floor, there are some other students might have a better idea of where these computers are located. But most of you guys are freshmen, so maybe not. So like I said, the second version, or the second option, is for most of you guys. It should be able to work on a laptop, on a desktop. Keep in mind, MATLAB is a pretty hefty program, so you want to have space available. If your computer is really old and slow, maybe you want to do this third version, but for most of you guys, you should be able to download MATLAB for free as UB students onto your computer. So it's free of charge. You can download, so MATLAB is released twice a year. There's version A and version B. Version A is released in like May, version B is released in like October or something. It doesn't matter. For our class, the basic latest version will be just fine. Okay, so like I said here, you can download 2020B because that's the most recent version. You do not need a bunch of different toolboxes. MATLAB has a lot of functionality, a lot of capabilities, all automatically plugged in. But you do not need a bunch of toolboxes. You can just go with the basic default set. In the future, if you need more, you can always download more. And like I said, this does not appear to be the case anymore. So don't worry about the VPN. If you cannot open MATLAB, if it says troubleshoot, cannot gain access, that's an indicator that you might need the VPN, but it sounds like that's not the case right now, which is great. If you, like I said, if you are working off of a Chromebook, if you have a really old, slow computer, I encourage you guys to use MATLAB Online instead. It's the same MATLAB program. I'll show you guys what that looks like when we open up MATLAB. But the interface is slightly different, and then the way you interact with files, you need to download and upload files separately. Yeah. But for the most part, it's the same program. So you should be able to do them both. Just the way you're interacting with MATLAB as a user is just going to be a little different depending on where your files are located. I actually use MATLAB Online a lot this summer. Not this summer, this winter break while preparing for class, just because I don't have MATLAB on my home laptop. And it actually worked really great. Just took me a little bit to transition between the two. And then lastly, you can choose to purchase your own student version of MATLAB. It's like $50 last time I checked. But like I said, you have access to it for free. So you do not need to pay for it unless you absolutely really desire to own MATLAB for some obscure reason. The last thing that you guys will have access to is MATLAB Grader. This is a web resource. You will receive an email inviting you to MATLAB Grader on Monday, next week. Next week. You will receive an email next week, and that will be a resource for your homeworks. And I will explain that a little bit more next week. Some additional resources, there's a lot of web resources through MathWorks, the company that owns MATLAB and develops MATLAB. They've got some useful tutorials. So this is your main MATLAB resource. When we get to linear algebra, there's a Khan Academy linear algebra course if you are interested in that. There's also some YouTube playlists that you might be interested in. When we get to linear algebra, we're not going to really focus on a lot of the theory. It's going to be much more practical and just chugging through problems. So these may or may not be useful resources. And there's also your some textbooks as well that you do not need to purchase. These are just resources if you would like to. Whoop. Okay, so the goals of this course are for you guys to understand the fundamentals of computer programming, fundamentals of linear algebra, solve problems using MATLAB, using linear algebra, writing and testing computer programs, reading, interpreting, understanding code, all of that fun stuff. So we're gonna practice this. I'm gonna teach. Hopefully it's useful teaching. That's my goal, to be useful. Because we've all had professors who are not useful. And then you'll practice that with your homeworks, with your textbook, with your exams, with your project, all of the fun stuff that goes with courses. So you're going to have a couple different types of assignments. You'll have your Syllabus assignments, which I already went over more or less. You'll have participation activities. You'll have challenge activities. The videos that I record, I have 5% that I need to throw somewhere. So your videos, the videos are going to have short comprehension quizzes at the end of those. Like I said, I'll try to make the videos shorter, 5-10 minutes, maybe 3 that you'll have to watch each week. You'll have weekly homework assignments. We will have a big programming project starting in week 10 to 13, 9 to 12 that you'll have to do. And then we have 2 exams. So the midterm and final, the dates are listed here. So our midterm is tentatively, it's not finalized, but right now it's tentatively scheduled for March 27th. That's the date that we typically have it. And then our final is scheduled for Tuesday of finals week. Tuesday. Woo, woo. That's just in the beginning of the week. I like exams in the beginning of the week. Personally, as an instructor, you might like them later in the week. Anyway. So those are scheduled. Please put them in your calendar. Whoop, I didn't update that. Okay. Midterm will be focused on the MATLAB portion of the class, which is weeks 1 through 8. And then the final is going to be focused on the linear algebra portion, which is weeks 9 through 14. Which seems long. Anyway. So here's your breakdown of all those assignments. Your Syllabus is 10% of your grade. Watching the videos is 5%. Your homework assignments is 20%. Your programming project is 15% of your grade, so that's 1 assignment. Big assignment is 15%. Your midterm is 20%, and your final exam is 30%. So if you're ever curious about where you are, go to UB Learns, grab all of your grades, and these are your percentages. These are our final cutoffs. So these are the highest they will be. This class is not explicitly curved. We do look at the scores at the end of the semester and adjust them if we need to. So it's not by exam, it's not by homework, it's not by project. It's just the final set of the final grades that are calculated after the final exam. After the final exam, we might adjust those. Okay, but these are the lowest or the highest they will be. So if you're asking about a curve, the class is not explicitly curved. Assignments are not explicitly curved. Okay? But the final grades may be adjusted. Incompletes. So here's a more explicit description of all the assignments. Yes, so that's a good question. So like I said, these are the highest they will be. They will only get lower. So an A at most is a 92 to a 100. It might be adjusted, which A's usually aren't adjusted, but it might be a 90 to 100 at the end of the semester. Or like a B minus, it might transition and be like a 70 to an 80 or a 76 or something. Okay, so this is the highest they will be, which means they will only be shifted down. So if you get a 92, you're guaranteed an A. If you get an 89, You're guaranteed at least an A minus. It might be shifted to an A, but don't necessarily count on that. Just know it might be shifted. So like I said, here's a more explicit just description of all the assignments, your Zybooks assignments, participation activities, challenge activities. Keep in mind your Zybooks is going to be focused on the first set of material. There's linear algebra in your Zybook, but it's really going to be focused on MATLAB topics. So once we get past week 8, you're not really going to have to worry about Zybooks. So make sure you guys are diligent first half of the semester chugging through those activities. I think they're really useful. The videos, like I said, they're going to be short quizzes at the end of the videos, just testing your comprehension. That will give me some feedback on information about what to cover in our live sessions, and how to transition or how to really focus on material that you guys might not comprehend. We'll see how those go. Lectures, broadcast live on Twitch, as you guys are already here. Basic rules: be kind, be courteous, treat others the way you want to be treated, be respectful in the chat. You guys can definitely talk to each other. Feel free to answer a question that somebody already answered that I haven't gotten to. Help each other out, but just be respectful, be kind, pay attention, and have fun. I've got some music on in the background. Can you guys even hear it? Can you guys hear the music? Trying to make it a little bit more similar to the way that you guys engage material. Like when you think about instructional YouTube videos, I'll have to play around with the music a little bit. But when I watch YouTube videos, instructional ones, there's generally some sort of music playing. And so it's just, and I'm sure you guys all listen to music and whenever you're doing homework, or just relaxing or whatever you're doing. So just something else to engage the background. It's royalty-free music I found on a YouTube playlist, so hopefully it's fine. Hopefully it works out. Awesome. Okay, so homework will be given on a weekly basis. There's typically 3 problems you'll have to do. It will be due on, let me talk about due dates. So your Zybooks assignments, your participation activities, like I said, we're still working with the due dates. Your participation activities will typically be due on Sunday. The Sunday after the material. So in theory, week 1 is a little different, but in theory, week 1 would be due next Sunday. So you're reading the material that I went over in class, along with us. The challenge activities are a little more challenging. I mean, they're challenge activities. So these will typically, they'll either be due the same time as the homework or the Sunday after. Video quizzes, you'll just have to watch them. Watch the videos, do the quizzes. I don't think I'll have due dates. Like I said, I'm going to release all of the material for the next week on Friday morning. So you should watch the videos in preparation for the next week. Homework. Homework will be given on a weekly basis. It will be due the Wednesday after. Okay, so right now it's February 1st. Your homework for this week will be due on the 10th. And then it will be due every Wednesday after. Okay, so keep that in mind as you guys are planning your schedule, planning your week. Homework is due on Wednesdays. And like I said, your challenge activities will either be due at the same time or a little bit after. I will talk more about homework and how to submit homework probably next week or in a video, and go over some of the resources that you guys have. Like I said, you'll be able to use MATLAB Grader to check your homework, and I will go over that more next week when we have a finalized class list after the drop add deadline. Feel free to work with other people on your homework. Your homework is individual though. So you are free to chat with people, to try and get help from people. Like I said, there's the Discord server. Please make use of that. It's for your own benefit. However, like I said, everybody needs to turn in their own work, which means everybody's work should be written by themselves. I do typically do a plagiarism check between submissions, and I've caught people copying and literally copying straight over from other people. So make sure you guys write up the solution yourself. Talk to other people, discuss with your classmates on things. You can show someone your code. That is not an issue. Maybe you're trying to figure out, I didn't get this calculation correct. Like, why not? And you show someone your code and you're like, oh yeah, you forgot this symbol. Just throw that in. That's fine. However, you should not be sitting next to someone and like typing the same thing that they are typing. So in general, try not to share your code until you have written most of it. Okay? And don't just freely give it out there. I saw someone post on Reddit the last semester. Does anyone know how to do the EAS 230 homework 3? Can you give me the solution? And like that is completely incorrect. You cannot just give someone a solution. Someone should not just ask for a solution. And I know you guys mostly know this, but sometimes the pressure is a lot. Sometimes you just don't know where to start, which is why we have office hours. So come to office hours, come talk to me, talk to your other fellow students. It's really your learning, your benefit. Some of you guys may think programming is not going to be a useful tool, but it's so useful in your higher level courses. It's useful when you get into industry or wherever you plan on going. It really is a useful tool. It's different. Programming can be really challenging. It is different. It's a different way of thinking, but really it's your benefit to try. And if you have no idea where to start, some points are better than no points, so just try something. I saw someone post and ask if you have an infinite attempt for homeworks. So you can use MATLAB Grader as a resource. You will still submit your homework on UB Learns. And like I said, I will talk about how to do that and what that looks like. You are not limited in how many times you change your homework. Just when you submit your homework by the deadline, that's the last one you submit is the one that we are going to grab. So this course is aimed towards engineers. It's really focused on engineering as a application. Computer science is different. AP Comp Sci. So I know there's two different types of APs. There's the AP Comp Sci that just goes over more of the like computer science topics and applications, and then there's computer science where they teach you Java, I think is the one that they do. So this would be more comparable to learning Java. Computer science, like CSE 115 is the Intro to Computer Science class at UB, and they teach Python and JavaScript. And so the way that you approach programming as an engineer is much more practical. A computer scientist is more, in my experience, is more interested in what can you do? What are the things we can do? And so let's just do them, regardless. Like, it's not always necessarily a practical application or cleanly written code. It's more just, what can we do? How can we change this so that it's as fast as possible, or writing this algorithm so that it's completely optimized. As an engineer, it's more practical. If you're trying to optimize your code, if you're trying to focus more on those computer science things, you will work with a computer scientist. But as an engineer, it's a lot more practical. Like, I try to focus on cleanly written code, focus on understandably written code. In MATLAB, there's a lot of stuff you can do. I don't necessarily encourage you to actually do it. So there is a difference. And then in computer science, a lot of computer scientists don't actually think about MATLAB as a programming language. It definitely is a programming language. It's also a software platform. So it's really about your perspective that you're approaching it in. Okay, let's keep talking about the syllabus. Well, we got 25 minutes left in class. Okay, so you'll also have a programming project which will focus on the topics learned in MATLAB. It's going to also incorporate linear algebra topics as well. The programming project does tend to be very challenging for students. You may have heard about it. Oh, right, 15 minutes. We don't have an hour. 15 minutes. We'll see how Twitch goes. I don't know my timeline. That's okay. We will get through all of the information. So the project, it is difficult. It is challenging. It's going to be posted in week 7. I will talk about it explicitly in week 10, and it will be due during week 13. You will be able to work with a partner if you want. You can also work by yourself if you want. And it is challenging. It's 15% of your grade. It is really super useful. You learn a lot during the programming project. Like I said, there are 2 exams. Exams will be proctored via Zoom, where a webcam will just watch you. So like your phone, you'll position it and it will watch you take the exam. It's listed out there. I will talk more about that process when we get to the exams. Keep these dates in your calendar. Some basic professionalism. My name preference is Dr. Hammond or Professor Hammond. Please do not call me Mrs. Hammond or Emily. Okay, just as a preference. I get called Mrs. Hammond all the time, typically by freshmen, which is fine. You're used to calling your teachers Mrs. But as a general rule in academics, in college, refer to your professors as doctor or professor. And then I like to not be called Emily by my students. Class conduct, like I said, be kind, courteous. Email, please make sure your emails are professional. I try to emulate that, and please also do the same to me. Exams, I will talk about them more when we get there. Your midterm will be writing small problems, like code. You'll actually write code and submit M files. For linear algebra, you will be solving problems on paper by hand. They will be administered via UB-Learns. No lockdown browser. You'll have a specific set of time to do it. And like I said, you'll have the webcam or your phone or whatever mounted so we can see you taking the exam. Academic honesty, I already shared on that. Okay. Here's the topics. A good syllabus demonstrates everything. You guys should be able to come back to this every week to identify what are we talking about this week. So here's all of the assignments and everything throughout the course of the semester. So week 1, you will have Zybooks activities, your video quizzes. I didn't create videos for week 1, so don't worry about those for week 1. And then your homework 1. Week 2, you will also have video quizzes. And you can see as keep going, programming project is going to be posted during week 7. Here's our midterm. Here's when I'm going to discuss the programming project. Here's when it's going to be due, all of that fun stuff. So you'll have access to this. Feel free to come back to it and see it every week. Practice exams. We have in the past, exams changed a little bit due to remote situation, but you should have a practice exam. Exams are open book. We're not going to do lockdown browser, none of that stuff. Everyone should have access to the same set of materials, whatever you guys have. You will just have a limited amount of time to do it. If you have conflicts with the exam, sure, email me right away. I will have a list going throughout the semester. I have access to the final exam schedule. You guys should have access to the final exam schedule. I'm assuming it's posted on Hub. You can get a final exam change conflict if you have 2 exams at the same time, or if you have 3 exams in 24 hours. So please email me as soon as possible. With the midterm, like I said, it is Saturday, March 27th. If you have a legitimate excuse, maybe you work during those hours or something where you cannot change it, email me as soon as possible. I would prefer not to do makeups for the midterm, but obviously if you have a legitimate excuse, I have to, which is fine. And then same thing for your final exam. Okay, so if you have a conflict, email me. I will tag your email. I will put your name in my list. Let me know as soon as possible. Video quizzes, I will send an email about that. I don't have any videos created yet, otherwise I would show you. You will have a first set of videos on Friday to watch. They are going to be on scripts and functions, which is week 2 material. Woohoo! So they will be posted on UB Learns, and you'll just watch the videos and take the quiz at the end. Like I said, they're going to be short comprehension quizzes, 4 or 5 questions. It's not going to be a lot. They're going to be multiple choice. I will send an email at the end of this week letting you guys know everything's been released for week 2. Watch the videos before coming to class. On what day? So tidy, the exams are Saturday, March 27th, and Tuesday, May 11th. Okay, so we've got 9 minutes left. I think I'm going to, I think I'm just gonna stop there and, I'll introduce a little bit about myself. I didn't do that. So, the programming project, yes, will be due, it's typically due Friday of, it's listed as here, due week 11. You have at least 3 weeks to do it. You will have at least 3 weeks to do it. Okay, so like I said, we've got about 8 minutes left. Feel free to ask any question you would like about this class. I know in general, this class tends to have a reputation of being very difficult, and part of that is because it's Introduction to Programming. Like I said, it is a different it's a different way of thinking. It's very logical. There's only certain things you can do. The hardest part about programming isn't necessarily writing it. It's about finding a problem, getting the problem, and thinking, how can I translate this into programming? Okay, so practice, come to office hours, get help. Hopefully you guys will succeed. I hope you guys all succeed. I love programming. It's really one of my favorite things. The average grade range, oh gosh. Typically, let me go up to my grades. So right now, a D is listed at 55 as the lowest. Typically, the one semester I remember what we changed it to was that if you got a 50, I think that was a D plus or something like that. I know everybody is grade sensitive. We've been taught to really focus on what our grade is. And I know the cliche answer is just focus on learning. But if you are concerned about your grade, let me know as soon as possible. I taught another Intro to Programming course last semester, and a student emailed me in like week 8. He was like, I'm concerned, I'm struggling, and I was like, you know what? Just keep moving forward. He came to office hours, he kept moving forward, he ended up with a B in the class. Same thing here. If you're struggling with your grade, let me know as soon as possible. We can talk things through, we can work things out, look at what you've been doing, maybe try and adjust and correct for some knowledge changes or knowledge gaps. But really, you are responsible for yourself. I have 120 students, which actually isn't that much right now, but it's still, I can't pick and choose every student. So you need to be an advocate for yourself. You need to reach out. I would love to work with you. I for the most part, my semester, I don't have that many meetings during the week. So I can meet with you outside of office hours, inside of office hours. Just be communicative with me. The more we can communicate, the better I can help you, the more we understand each other. Sandwich, this class teaches the same, it's not the same as CSE 115. It teaches the same concepts with a different language. So you can think about it as CSE light in terms of programming topics. It's a different language. We do also have like 5 weeks of linear algebra. So it is a little different, but it teaches, in theory, what you learn in MATLAB, you should be able to translate and learn for Python or JavaScript, which is what they teach in CSE 115. JC cubes, yes, disregard lab period. We've taken out lab and replaced it with office hours throughout the entire week. I think there's maybe like 3 hours that aren't covered throughout the week from like 9 to 6 p.m. So disregard the lab period, pretend it's just not there. Okay, so like I said, feel free to keep asking questions. No, Friday lectures and video quiz is the same thing. Friday, there's no live lecture. It's just you'll watch a couple videos that introduce the next week's material. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Emily Hammond. I'm not from New York. I grew up in Wisconsin, so I grew up along Lake Michigan, so a different lake. I love the Great Lakes. They're awesome. My family actually has like a bunch of snow right now, and I'm very jealous because it's not here. I'll get to the bunk beds in a minute. My background is biomedical engineering. I went to a small school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for my undergrad. I really liked math, science, health, not like health class, but like medicine, health sciences. So I wanted to be a physical therapist, but funny story, my mother told me I wasn't social enough. So she said, go look at engineering, which is ironic, because I ended up loving it. While I was in undergrad, I discovered programming. I had zero programming experience going into undergrad, I love programming now. It's awesome. My husband's a computer engineer, so he had extensive programming experience. He helped out a lot. So find a friend who's done programming. It helps talk them through things. First programming language I learned was MATLAB. In grad school, I went into bioimaging, which is essentially signal processing for images. Images are just two-dimensional signals. But I worked with CT scans, MRI scans. I wrote algorithms for processing those images. And so I programmed that mostly in C++. I always wanted to do teaching, so I decided my senior year of undergrad to go into teaching, which is why I went to grad school to get my PhD. I ended up at UB for teaching. I've been teaching for 4 years now. It's great, very rewarding. I try to be a good teacher. I try to impact students the way my professors impacted me. I don't know if I've done it yet, but hopefully I'm on that track. A little bit about me personally. I like running. I've run a half marathon every year for the last 8 years. I don't plan on running a marathon. It's a little too long. I don't have time for that training. But a half marathon's a good distance. A couple years ago, my husband and I bought this house, so I've been doing house projects. Fallen in love with power tools. It's pretty awesome. I made this desk out of an old door and some sawhorses that I made. Did that last Saturday. My husband and I also got certified for foster care a little over a year and a half ago. And so we've got the bunk beds just because we don't know what kids we might be asked to take in. We've had one boy for 1.5 years now, and he's absolutely wonderful. His bedroom is across the way, but that's why the bunk beds are there, just because we're foster parents. When our foster son goes back to his biological parents, we don't know who we might get, so that's why the bunk beds are there. Okay, time is up. I will go through some of the questions. If you have any questions about me, about the class, keep asking. What do I like more, MATLAB or Excel? They're different. Excel is awesome if you can use it, if you know Excel, it's great. It's awesome. MATLAB is better for big data sets. So Excel is great if you've got small data sets that you're working with, relatively small. MATLAB works better if you've got large data sets. Also, it depends on what you plan on doing. They're both great. Excel is what I use primarily for processing for course grades and all that fun stuff. MATLAB, I will write scripts that just kind of automate stuff. So it depends on what your application is. And that's true regardless of what you're trying to do. For programming, you use the application, the programming language that best fits your application. The difference between homework and Zybook activities, homework, it's much more extensive. You're going to have bigger problems that you need to write code for. Zybooks are much smaller pieces. It's like write this one line of code, or write 2 lines, whereas your homework is going to be write an entire program. I mentioned lab before. There's no explicit lab. We've replaced that with office hours all week. Let's keep going. Thank you for everybody who's posting, who's responding to people's questions. I really appreciate that. I hope that's really a resource that Twitch brings out. The homework will be posted on UBLearns. You'll actually have homework. You actually have access to homework 1. I will talk about that more later. The UBLearns, I will set it up as things you need to do, like 1, 2, 3. Typically, you'll have about 5 things. Do your Zybooks, watch the videos, come to lecture, do your homework, and then attend office hours. Those are the 5 things you should be doing every week. Foster parenting, it's been great. It can be really challenging, but it's I don't know. It's different. It really is different. It's different than what my siblings do for their parenting, but it's been awesome. The TAs will have office hours during most lab times. Like I said, there's really only 3 hours in the week that aren't covered, but if you want to kind of just set aside that lab time, feel free to go to office hours during that entire time. Would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? 100. Kickable. They're kickable. Is there an email going out for access to office hours, or is that on UBLearns? UBLearns will contain all the information for office hours. I can follow the algorithm to solve a Rubik's Cube. So that was posted a long time ago. My husband, he's got like a 2x2 Rubik's Cube, a 3x3, a 4x4, a 5x5. He can solve them from scratch. I get bored easily. So I can follow the algorithm. I can solve most of it by memory right now, but I do not come up with my own algorithms. I knew someone in high school who would come up with his own Rubik's Cube algorithms. I'm nerdy. I'm not quite that side. The videos will not be posted on Zybooks. I will have them on UBLearns. So go to UBLearns as your reference of things you should do. Okay, things we need to know for Wednesday. We're 5 minutes past, but things you need to do for Wednesday. On UBLearns, let me go to UBLearns. Okay, on UBLearns, you'll see that week 1 is already posted. Go through the notes. You don't necessarily have to go through the notes, but that's what I will go through mostly on Wednesday. Okay, so if you want to go through the notes, start reading in your Zybooks. So just start chugging away through all of the 3 things that you have to do for this week. You do not need to do the readings by Wednesday. You don't need to go through the notes by Wednesday. But on Wednesday, I will start talking about programming, take a tour of MATLAB, and then we will get into our first program and talk about basic variables and expressions. Okay, so if you want to go through notes, you do not have to. Okay, so like I said, time is up. Are there any final questions before we stop the stream? Okay, I will see you all on Wednesday. Feel free to email me. Feel free to post in the Discord. However you say that. Feel free to post on the Discord server any questions as well. I will periodically check on that during the week, but I will explicitly be on it during on Tuesdays. I don't have office hours posted. We're still finalizing all the information. You can always view this video on Twitch. I will post the video itself on UB Learns as well. Twitch automatically saves it, records it. You can always access it on my channel, except for like 2 weeks from now, it'll probably automatically disappear. Okay, with that, have a great rest of your day. Good luck this first week. I will see you guys on Wednesday.